All right, my friends, I've got breaking news for you. You've never heard this before. It's brand new. It's fresh. It's going to be a revelation for you. From WorldNet Daily, Muslim migrants in Austria tend to express medieval attitudes towards Jews, homosexuals, women, and non-Muslims, according to an academic survey. Now, who would ever have guessed that? I suppose I'm fortunate in that I am not the person paying those academics to run this BS survey to try and quote-unquote prove what people have known for 14 centuries or longer. The study by Ednan Aslan, professor of Islamic religious education at the University of Vienna, interviewed a sample of 288 of the approximately 4,000 predominantly Afghan asylum seekers in state care in the southeastern Austrian city of Graz, according to the Austrian Daily Courier, Breitbart reported. The survey found that some 54.5% believe Jewish people don't care about anyone but themselves. 44.2% think Judaism is actively harmful to the world. Aslam observed, quote, from certain refugees, anti-Semitism is a matter of course, which has given the refugee movement a new dimension. Unquote. My friends, this past weekend I was sitting at the table with 3 other people, and 2 of them were telling me about Islam. They were saying it's just a small minority of Muslims who are extremists, who believe the things written in the Quran. They're the exception. Most Muslims are decent folks just like you and me. Needless to say, I went off. I told the 2 guys who were saying this that they were wrong, and then one of them says, well, I haven't read the Quran. I did not call the guy a schmuck, although I certainly would have been right to do so. Too many people pontificating about things they know nothing about. This survey shows that all these Muslims have medieval, and that's not my word, that's the author's word, medieval beliefs. What makes you think they're not in favor of hacking off hands or heads, or honor killing, or female genital mutilation, or throwing gays off of roofs, or sinking them in the ocean in cages? America, wake up! The sword is at our throats, and we're playing games. People are pretending they're just discovering that what? Muslims' belief systems and value system are not identical to ours? Really? You kidding? No time for stupidity anymore, my friends. No time for games. No time for the 3 monkeys. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. It's time. It's time to embrace real, honest to goodness truth. Because without it, we're cooked. Without it, we're cooked. It's Monday. The name of the show is Riell Truth. I'll be right back.
I'm Joe King, CEO of the Patriot Brick, and I would like to encourage everyone to make sure they are prepared financially as the Federal Reserve continues to destroy the value of the dollar. Since the closing of the gold window in 1971, the Federal Reserve has led the way in the explosion of debt and the devaluing of their money. They openly say that they need 2% inflation, which simply means they hope to devalue your money. They want to do this every single year, year after year. I know it's hard to understand, but the Federal Reserve believes that prosperity, debt, and growth via the evaluation of your future. To learn more about how to protect yourself, visit us at allamericangold.com or call us at 800-951-0592 and protect yourself against the devalue of your money.
Are you driving a vehicle with hail damage from some storm? Tired of waiting months to get your vehicle repaired? Dent Vision specializes in paintless dent and hail repair. And unlike traditional body shops, Dent Vision gets your vehicle back to you in days, not weeks. Insurance approved.
All right, guys, brand new week here on Riell Truth and brand new Tsuris. You knew that was coming. My name's Howard Riell. The show is called Riell Truth. Saturday was the 1-year anniversary of the swearing in of Donald Trump. Here's Ann Coulter. Ann Coulter's interesting. She's a Trump supporter, but her eyes are open and she recognizes the things he could be doing better. Here she is on Fox News' Next Revolution. Go. Well, you know what? Ann Coulter is right. There are things Trump promised and he hasn't been able to do. But what he has accomplished, given everything he's carrying on his back, the Democrat Party, the Republican Party, the media, the deep state, foreign leaders, the UN, feminists, given all that, he's had just about no help. It is miraculous he's gotten as much done as he has. Take a commercial break and we'll be right back, my friends. Riell Truth moves on.
And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America News Network. The American Freedom Network is not funded or supported by special interest groups or government programs. The American Freedom Network is not sponsored by advertisers demanding content or programming control. The American Freedom Network is solely funded by you, the listener. Please help keep the American Freedom Network on the air by purchasing one of our sponsors' fine products or by calling 1-800-205-6245 to make a donation. The American Freedom Network needs your help. American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown reminds parents, keep an eye on your child while shopping. Children tend to stray or become lost. This poses an opportunity for a would-be abductor. Please make every effort to keep track of your little one at all times. If you have information regarding a lost child, call local authorities at once. From American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown. For residential or commercial window tinting, call 303-263-4228.
All right, folks, welcome back to Riell Truth. If you're watching the news today, you know the shutdown has basically been ended. But here is Newt Gingrich being interviewed yesterday about the shutdown, about politics, and about Donald Trump, whom he says has played this whole thing pretty well. Here's Newt Gingrich.
government? Is it our frontliners or our soldiers? Who gets hurt?
Well, General Mattis was very, very powerful in saying, how can I go out and ask these young men and women to sign up again, to stay in the service, when the Congress is so capricious and so unreliable, and they have no idea what it's going to do to their career. And I heard a retired veteran pilot in Florida say on Fox and Friends, and he's exactly right. You need about 25 hours training a month in the air if you're going to be the kind of pilots that we want to have, where you have absolute air superiority. When you start cutting into that training time, you're just destroying the effectiveness of our military. So I think all these guys, my dad was a career soldier for 27 years, and the degree to which they could never understand why Washington was so screwed up is once again being perpetuated here. The people who are potentially hurt the most by this are the men and women in uniform and their families, whose lives are all held hostage. And General Mattis, the Secretary of Defense, was very clear that if this thing goes on for very many days, one of the first things they will cut is training for the reserves. And that's very dangerous, because you start cutting training, I don't care how good your weapon is, if the soldier or sailor or Marine or airman who's using it is not really well trained, they can't get the job done.
How gut feeling, I know nobody really knows, gut feeling, how long do you think it'll last? Do you think Schumer will come back at midnight on Sunday?
I think what may happen, one of two things is going to happen. Either Schumer is going to come back, or you're going to start seeing Democrats. Remember, you've got 10 Democratic senators up for re-election in states that Trump carried. So if you're from West Virginia or North Dakota or Missouri or Indiana, the pressure on you to cave is going to get to be very real. And I wouldn't be too shocked to see a group of Democrats go to Schumer and just say, we can't keep doing this. If you want to hold out, that's fine, but we're going to vote for it. So one of two things will happen. Either Schumer will cave, he might get a fake leave of some kind for caving. But I think the attitude right now in the administration is that they won't give him anything because they think he has made a huge mistake. And when even the New York Times and the Washington Post says that it is the Democrats closing government, and when the term the Schumer shutdown begins to catch on, you don't have any sense of people who are inclined to back off. And I think the Republicans and the president think they're winning.
Do you think they'll do a temporary moving forward, or do you think we've reached the level where everybody says, no, we've got to do a permanent one or else?
No, well, I think McConnell, the Senate Republican leader, has already made clear that he is willing to offer an amendment to just have a 10-day continuation so they can keep talking. Now, I don't know what that gets them, because they might end up back in the same place. But I also think that Speaker Ryan thinks he passed a pretty compelling bill in the House, and I don't think he's very inclined to back off. So obviously they'll end up doing what the president wants because they're on the same team. But I think that you could see, this weekend, Senator McConnell offer an amendment that would keep the government open for the next 10 or 12 days while they're talking. And I would not be at all surprised to see the Democrats cave and accept it, just because where they're at right now is so untenable. And I've said publicly, having done this before, if I were the Democrats, I would offer a full year funding for the Defense Department and get it off the table. As long as it's at risk, they will never win this fight.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for calling in.
All right, guys, let's listen to what Ben Shapiro has to say about the shutdown, because his comments are illuminating.
Speaking of things Trump should do, Trump is actually handling this whole government shutdown relatively well. So the government is going to shut down today. It's going to shut down because Democrats believe that it is in their political interest to filibuster the continuing resolution to fund the government.
By the way, my friends, it's not 800,000 people because they get to bring their families with them, so it ends up being 3.6 million people. 3.6 million illegal aliens getting amnesty. That's what the Democrats want, and that's what Republican asswipes like Jeff Flake and Lindsey Graham want. And that would be a big, fat, juicy dose of poison injected into our bloodstream. My friends, the takeaway is this. The takeaway is this. The Democrats are interested in the illegal aliens from other countries. Much more than they're interested in you and me and other Americans. We'll be back.
Are you driving a vehicle with wheel damage from summer storm, tired of waiting months to get your vehicle repaired? Vintage specializes in paintless dent and nail repair. And unlike traditional body shops, Vintage is your guarantee today. Quality repairs with lifetime warranty. Call today for your immediate appointment. 970-541-7970 or look us up at
Most people believe
Now, this is the testimony of John.
a break for a while.
He confessed and did not deny
To say,
it.
I don't feel good about it.
And they asked him, what then? Are you Elijah? He said, I am not. Are you the prophet? And he answered, no. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 19 through 21.
The associates at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter in Lafayette, Ohio. No one anywhere is more noble, righteous, selfless, and courageous than our United States Armed Forces. These brave men and women and their families put the bill for our freedom every day. And the military care package today to let them know that they are in our hearts and our prayers and our thoughts. This is from the associate at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter on Highway 287 in Lafayette. They're on the air because they care. This is the blocker fund of the mindset of the drug problem is a product. We know our kids will be approached at early age. We want to applaud the industry for making a huge that is certain. We know the drugs. They provide examples of this. Any families to be the best they can be. The blocker fund located at 366.
Cave did incredibly well by raising the
specializing in naturalized HD.
So a company can say, well, I need so many.
Oh, really? 688-2040. That's 688-2040.
Are you driving a vehicle with hail damage from summer storm, tired of waiting months to get your vehicle repaired? Vintage specializes in paintless dent and nail repair. And unlike traditional body shops, Vintage can get your vehicle back to you today, not weeks. Insurance and top quality repairs with lifetime warranty. Come today for your immediate appointment. 970-541-7679. That's 970-541-0679 or look us up at vintagevehicle.com.
This farm report brought to you by Nissan Type. For agriculture producers who are considering moving livestock within the borders of Colorado, there may be laws and requirements will be filled out depending on the livestock. Anything from alpacas, certain animals, and rabbits, permitting may be or may not be required. But you should find out to be sure. Go to the CDA website import requirements tab to find out and apply for permits if need be. Take on the unexpected with this available intelligent safety key technology. Innovation and excitement.
My friends, welcome back to Riell Truth. I am Howard Riell. You know, two of the very sharpest, most brilliant people on the scene today, aside from myself, Ann Coulter and Ben Shapiro. Allow me to present Ann Coulter and Ben Shapiro.
Cave did incredibly well by
right, guys, let's jump over to Ben Shapiro. He's playing Mitch McConnell standing in the well in the Senate. Let's go back to Shapiro and his commentary.
There's the urgency here.
Okay, so
My friends, I told you he's one of the brightest guys out there. He is absolutely spot on right. Item from Newsweek: nearly a year after President Trump's inauguration, a Harvard University professor says 2016 presidential candidate Hillary Clinton could still become commander-in-chief. Unquote. My friends, climb down off your chandelier. She's not going to become commander-in-chief. But this does serve to highlight how whacked out, how crazy, and how stupid university professors are, even in the hallowed halls of Harvard. We'll be back.
And of his fullness we have all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 16.
Piccolo's restaurant in Denver reminds us that over 750,000 children were reported missing last year. Over 58,000 of these were affected by non-family members. Keep an eye out for youngsters at play, and if you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. This message from Piccolo's restaurant in Denver. It's not only best to found in a Mexican cuisine, it's the people who care. Give them a call at 303-757-5166. 303-757-5166. Piccolo's. Chaplain Colangelo speaks our emergency first responders because professionalism connected and free. They're willing to put their lives on the line for those who are no thanks. So let's all take the time to thank our first responders for all they do for us. Also thanking our veterans for the sacrifice they made for our freedom. This message is from Chaplain Colin LLC, with 10 locations in Denver and Fort Collins, serving the community for over 13 years. Visit it online at chapelcollins.com.
Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized.
All right, guys, let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. You remember the fake news awards. You know, the news cycle moves so quickly today, we tend to lose track of it. It captures our attention today, and by the day after tomorrow, we've forgotten it. Well, I'm not going to forget it, because the fake news continues. And calling out the major media for their intentional lies is very important. And so, let's go back to last week. I don't want to let go of this fake news narrative, because the fake news continues and we need to be constantly aware of it. So let's go back to last week. Sean Hannity, Michelle Malkin, Joe Concha talking about Donald Trump's fake news awards. Take it away, guys. All right, folks, that is a very good place for us to exit. We're about to hit our last commercial break of the day. Sanjay Gupta on CNN. I don't know what Sanjay Gupta's expertise is. I don't know how smart he is, how good a doctor he is. As soon as he's on CNN, you know there's going to be crap coming out of his mouth. And based on what I'm hearing, that's exactly what happened. So much for Sanjay Gupta. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up, my friends, Monday on Riell Truth. Stick around.
Why does he know the Spirit of God? Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come from the Spirit of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh, is not of God. And this is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have already heard is coming and is now already in the world. 1 John 4:1.
No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque or reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debt, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. Article 1, Section 10. If catastrophe struck, would your family be prepared? Are you confident you wouldn't react in a panic? Is there one place to get all of your emergency supplies? Veris Survival encourages you to have confidence through preparation, not panic through crisis. Veris Survival, located at 3366 South Broadway, is a professional, reputable, full-service business providing quality, realistic preparedness supplies
My friends, welcome back to Riell Truth. Item from CNBC. Donald Trump lifted the Dow Jones Industrial Average in his first year in office more than any other president since Franklin Roosevelt. The Dow has surged more than 31% since Trump's inauguration on January 20, 2017. That marks the index's best performance during a president's first year since Roosevelt. Thank you, President Trump. Item from the Wall Street Journal, Dateline London. Surging U.S. crude oil production this year is expected to surpass output in Saudi Arabia and rival that of Russia, the world's two largest oil producers, the International Energy Agency said on Friday. Boosted by a resurgent shale industry, U.S. crude production will likely climb above 10 million barrels a day in 2018, which would top the high set in 1970. Unquote. Thank you, President Trump. Item from the Boston Globe. There's a ghost haunting Elizabeth Warren as she ramps up for a possible 2020 presidential bid and a re-election campaign in Massachusetts this year, her enduring and undocumented claims of Native American ancestry. Warren says now, as she has from the first days of her public life, that she based her assertions on family lore and that her reasonable trust in what she was told about her ancestry as a child. I know who I am, she said in a recent interview with the Globe, but that self-awareness may not be enough as her political ambitions blossom. She's taken flack from the right for years as a fake Indian, including taunts from President Trump, who derisively calls her Pocahontas. That clamor from the right will only grow with her increasing prominence. Unquote. My friends, President Trump apologized for calling her Pocahontas. He apologized to Pocahontas. Item from WorldNet Daily. California will take the next step in blurring the lines between citizens and non-citizens beginning April Fool's Day, when the state complies with a court order to begin automatically registering to vote all those who are granted driver's licenses. The state has long provided driver's licenses to all who simply claimed without proof that they were citizens in the country illegally. There were no checks made or documentation required. But beginning April 1, every person who gets a California driver's license will be automatically entitled to vote. We're very pleased Californians will have easier access to voter registration, said Jeremiah Levine, an attorney with Morrison Forster, who represented the voting rights group. Unquote. I hate to disagree with Mr. Levine, but he's a schmuck, as are all the fools in California who think just anybody should be able to waltz in and vote. That is how you destroy a state. Carried to a larger stage, that's how you destroy a country. Item from USA Today. A new billionaire is created every other day. The three richest Americans have the same amount of wealth as the poorest half of the U.S. population. And 82% of the global wealth generated last year went to just 1% of the world's population. My friends, that's not the worst of it. The worst of it is that I'm not part of the 1%. Item from Yahoo. 2 Army captains who met at West Point returned there to be married in what's believed to be the first same-sex marriage of active duty personnel at the storied New York Military Academy. Unquote. My friends, I just wanted to end with an item that would give you reason to wonder whether you were still on Earth or whether you transitioned into the Twilight Zone. We'll be back tomorrow with more Riell Truth, my friends. See you then.